This is the axolotl. The axolotl comes to us from the Lake Xochimilco near Mexico City, and they can get about 10 inches in size. So to house the axolotl properly, they should be kept in a minimum tank size of 30 gallons. Axolotls spend their entire lives submerged in water, but they can at times hunt around the surface of the water. So it's important to cover the top of your aquarium to prevent them from jumping out. Axolotls can be social creatures, but they can be aggressive and they will eat anything that fits in their mouths. And if not given enough space, they can fight with other axolotls as well. It's not uncommon for them to bite off a limb, or in some cases multiple limbs, if they aren't kept with enough space or hiding spaces. The axolotl prefers slow but clean water. Too much water current and this can lead to bent or folded gills. So be sure to keep them with a subtle aquarium filter. The axolotl should be kept in water with a neutral pH of around 7 and with a slightly colder temperature in between 60 and 65. This makes them not so compatible with tropical fish. When it comes to their tank setup, you should use at least 1 to 2 hiding spaces for each axolotl. And this can be in the form of aquatic plants or other natural decorations like rocks and driftwood. Now, axolotls don't like bright lights, so you're gonna want to use low light plants when choosing decorations for your aquarium. Whether you use natural or artificial decorations, be sure to avoid sharp decorations. Sometimes when a fish, or in this case axolotls, get spooked, they quickly dart through the tank, and if they brush up against something sharp like a rock, they can slice themselves open, which can prove to be pernicious. I personally just stick with plants, driftwood, and terracotta pots, but I know that some people like to use things like PVC pipes for makeshift hideouts. When it comes to the substrate that you should use for the axolotl, it's very important to use a very fine substrate. Some people like to keep bare-bottom tanks, but axolotls traverse by walking around on all fours, and with no substrate, they won't be able to hunt or make their way around the tank comfortably. With bigger substrates like gravels, rocks, and pebbles, the problem lies in the fact that axolotls are kind of clumsy. They're slow and clumsy, but the one thing that they do have is that they are lightning quick when hunting. They hunt by quickly sucking in a lot of pressure when a fish gets nearby, which is very effective. But sometimes they can inhale rocks, which can lead them to suffocate, so it's best just to stick with sand. When it comes to feeding the axolotl, they're a little tricky to feed as they aren't as agile as most fishes. It's not recommended that you just throw in some fish food, as chances are they're not going to go around collecting all that food. Much rather the opposite. Any food left out will go bad and mess with your water parameters. What axolotls do always go for is live foods. Axolotls love live worms, so you can feed them pretty much all types of worms. I've used black worms, bloodworms, and earthworms. They also really like live shrimp, although this can be kind of pricey. I usually stick with live fish and live worms, both which I keep for a little while just to make sure that they are healthy. Axolotls will also accept frozen foods, which can be nutritious but a little pricey as well. And you'll have to place the cubes right in front of them so that they can see them. Feeding your axolotl once a day should keep it happy. Now, when it comes to keeping the axolotl with other fish, this is highly not recommended, and there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, most fish will try to nip at your axolotl or vice versa. If the fish is small enough, the axolotl will most likely try to eat it. Another reason why it's not a good idea to mix fish with axolotls is that the fish that we typically keep in the hobby require warmer waters than the axolotl. By keeping them together, you're making one of them suffer awkward water temperatures. So there's a brief description of the axolotl, and just keep in mind that if you take good care of them, the axolotl has a lifespan of around 10 to 15 years.